Welcome to the Deep Dive. We sift through the sources so you don't have to. Today, we're tackling critical thinking. Sounds simple, right?
Yeah.
But it's not. Our sources show that even back in the 60s, people had like over 35 different ways of describing it. So our mission today, explore what critical thinking really involves, and we'll use the International Baccalaureate, the IB system, as a kind of case study.
Yeah, it's fascinating how varied the ideas have been historically. You had early thinkers like John Dewey talking about suspended judgment,
Mhm.
basically pausing, asking questions before jumping to conclusions. He later called it reflective thinking or inquiry.
Okay, so holding back, questioning.
Exactly. But then you had others like Ennis who really focused on correctly assessing statements, very much about logical analysis, almost formulaic. They even called that approach logicism.
Logicism, right. That sounds very
Yeah.
precise, almost mathematical, like you said. But was that it, or did the idea grow?
Oh, it definitely grew. That leads us into what the research calls the second wave of critical thinking. This is where you get people like McPeck and Paul bringing in concepts like reflective skepticism
Hmm.
and strong sense critical thinking.
Strong sense. What does that mean exactly?
Well, it's not just about finding flaws in other people's arguments, it's about looking at different viewpoints, really trying to understand them even empathetically, and importantly, turning that critical eye on yourself, your own biases, your assumptions. It requires things like intellectual humility, empathy, integrity.
Right, this is where it gets really interesting for me, because our sources stress that these two waves, they're not just slight tweaks, they're fundamentally different things you're aiming for, different goals. Which means if you're trying to teach critical thinking, you really need to know which kind you mean. Otherwise, well, you could miss the mark completely.
Exactly right. It's like trying to teach someone addition when they actually need to understand calculus, like you hinted earlier. And this complexity, it's why looking at something like the IB system is so helpful. It's a real-world attempt to grapple with this.
So how does the IB handle it? Do they pick a side?
Yeah.
Logicism versus strong sense?
Well, they don't always use the label critical explicitly in their main framework, the learner profile, but look at the traits they value. Many of them strongly echo that second wave. Think about communicators. They're expected to listen carefully to the perspectives of other individuals and groups, or being open-minded, which involves seeking out and evaluating, diverse perspectives. That's very second wave.
Okay, so the IB framework implicitly leans towards that broader, more reflective kind of thinking. Given all this complexity then, what do the sources say are the key questions to ask if you actually want to foster this skill?
Our research points to three really crucial questions. First, what kind of critical thinking do you want to foster? Be specific. Second, why do you want to foster it? Think about the outcome for the learner, maybe without even using the label critical thinking. What should they be able to do? And the third one is, what is the current status of the learners? Where are they starting from?
And the IB learner profile you mentioned, that seems to directly answer the why
Yeah.
question for IB students, right? It sets out that vision.
Precisely. It gives a clear target for the kind of thinker they hope to develop.
Okay, but fostering those qualities, empathy, humility, evaluating diverse views, that sounds much harder than just teaching logic rules. How important is that third question you mentioned, understanding where learners are right now?
Oh, it's absolutely critical. Sources make that very clear. You have to know the starting point. There's this great example where teachers notice students just taking others' opinions at face value, no questioning.
Mm.
And they also saw what they called solutionism or answerism.
Solutionism, answerism, what's that?
It's this tendency to jump immediately to finding an answer, any answer, or a quick fix without really digging into the problem, exploring different angles, or questioning if the first idea is actually the best one. It's about getting an answer, not necessarily the right or best one after careful thought. Recognizing these habits, these underlying beliefs about learning, is essential. You can't build critical thinking on top if those foundations aren't addressed.
Right. You have to meet them where they are. So after this whole deep dive, what's the main takeaway for you listening? It seems like getting bogged down, searching for one perfect definition of critical thinking might be missing the point. Maybe the real value comes from focusing on the action, thinking critically, actually doing it, applying these skills in real specific situations based on what's needed right then and there and starting from where the learner actually is. So maybe the journey isn't about finding that one elusive definition. Perhaps it's more about the ongoing practice, continuously challenging ourselves, questioning our own assumptions, really engaging with different views moment by moment. It's less of a destination maybe and more of a way of traveling, an ongoing process.